Today I'd like to show you my Emerson model FS-423 that was sold to me by a very, very nice gentleman who assured me that it was absolutely a spectacular radio and only used by a kindly old lady on Sundays to listen to her gospel music. So I'm sure he sold me a good radio. Let's take a look at what we have here, shall we? Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh my. Oh dear. Mr. Trump? Mr. Trump, I'd like my money back, sir. Mr. Trump, where are you going? Don't run away. Mr. Trump. For some reason, he seemed to have business elsewhere, and I don't know what the FBI agents were doing, but handcuffs? I don't think handcuffs were necessary. Alright, we have here a well-worn Emerson model FS-423, missing a knob and obviously needing some minor work. And what have we got in here? Oh dear, it looks like something's been living inside. There's a number of acorn pieces and bird seed, and let's hope the rodents haven't done too much damage. Oh gosh, I've got to get some light on it for you. That is the cutest little electrodynamic speaker I think I've ever seen. That looks like to be a 4-inch cone with an electrodynamic. That's got to be the smallest one I've ever seen, ever. The antennas here, and oh, I think I see a newish poly cap hanging out the side, so somebody's had their fingers in this at some point, I think. Let me get a vacuum cleaner over here, vacuum out the what's left of the mouse's meal, and we'll pull the chassis out, take a look. It seems pretty obvious that during this restoration I'm going to need to make a new one of those. I'll have to fire up my vacuum form machine. And it says phono, little dot, and radio, and this says selector instead of tuning. This has got to be volume and on. I don't see anything written up there. Whether it's completely worn off or what the story is, I don't know. I don't know how that speaker baffle removes. I'd like to get that out of there, and I don't see how it's attached. It's a separate block that the speaker's mounted on, and the louvers are staggered alternate to these. In other words, the openings are behind here so that it's not obvious. But it'd be nice to get that out of there and clean it up, but I don't see how it's attached anywhere. It appears to only be connected on the bottom. Yeah, the sides, and I don't know if it's just glued. Another thing that fascinates me about these sets is the phonograph arm here, the tone arm. The ground is connected to the chassis, which is connected directly to the line on this set. I've peeked at the schematic, and the common ground is connected directly to AC. And that, of course, leads up here, and that's static. I don't know, that doesn't look like an original. But typically, these would have one side of the cartridge grounded as well to minimize hum pickup, which means, wow, that's at an angle. There, now it's standing up straight. All the rubber's shot. Typically that would mean that the tone arm is hot if the plug gets turned around the wrong way. And I can remember when I was a pup, there was one of these laying around in the basement that I turned on one day and grabbed the tone arm, and holy crap did I get whacked standing on the concrete floor. It just amazes me that they allowed those to be sold even back then. So we'll have to glue the cabinet back together, obviously. The inside of it is all flocking. All very light flocking on the inside. It's not as heavy as the stuff that's on the turntable, but that's just flocking material sprayed onto the inside of the cabinet up here. The speaker, unfortunately, is crunchy, which means that's probably gonna have to go. I'll probably end up replacing this cute little guy with a permanent magnet speaker, and either putting a choke in or keeping the, screw this down to the bottom inside for the choke. That's a shame, but this is not a speaker that's rebuildable. The spider is glued to the frame in there, and the cone is, cone's glued to the frame. It's a shame because the cone itself looks like it's in good shape, but obviously there's rust on the pole piece. Too bad. I hate to lose that cute little electrodynamic speaker. Let me get this out of here and we'll get the chassis over in front of the... Okay, we have the chassis here, and boy, this is nasty. It doesn't smell too badly of mouse pee, but it does have that distinct odor. No wonder that this was hitting the glass in the front. That's supposed to be up there like that, and it's bent ever so slightly. There we go. It's an interesting setup. There's a dial cord around the tuning shaft down here that goes to a pulley here, which turns the shaft for the capacitor and goes through, and there's a much larger diameter wheel or pulley in here that the actual dial string is wrapped around. So it has two dial cords. It's not the first one I've seen like that, but I've never seen it in a radio of this size, type, cheapness, whatever. Yeah, for some reason the tuning capacitor doesn't want to go all the way. Something's binding it up. Not sure if it's the capacitor or something down in here. We'll figure that out. Not important at this juncture. This winding, outside winding around the antenna is got to be replaced. All the insulation's breaking off of it. That appears to be, well, no, there's a, yeah, there's a winding for an external, there's an external antenna connection here with a winding that goes around on the outside, but there's still yet another winding here, which I'm guessing is part of the oscillator circuit. I don't know. There's three windings. There's the antenna winding, there's the external antenna winding, which goes around and goes out to ground, and then there's this green wire. Yuck. I think I should probably put the screw back in this for the time being so that I don't end up breaking those wires off. This thing is not in nice condition. Fortunately, Mr. Trump sold it to me very, very cheaply. Still don't understand why he ran away. Had a strange suntan. Seemed like a nice gentleman. Oh boy. Yeah, we've got some kind of replacement cap here, here, here. Is that in frame? I guess not. There we go. One up here. A couple of electrolytics. Left a paper cap in here for whatever reason. Oh, dangling wire here. When I see this, this is kind of concerning. A, it's a pretty sloppy job of repair, and B, why did they abandon it? Did they come up across or against something that wasn't repairable? Maybe the speaker turned them away, gave up on it. It's not a recent job. From the number of seeds and cobwebs, and there was sunflower seeds, acorns, regular bird seed, all kinds of stuff in the back of this. So the mice had been in and out of it for a while, but I don't see any mouse damage. Nothing appears to have chewed on the antenna coil, oscillator coil, whatever that is. Oscillator coil, I guess. I'm just getting into this. Yeah, that's the oscillator coil. But that appears to be intact, but from the stuff that's on the top of these, I hope the mice haven't been peeing inside the IF transformers. Ew. Yucca, yucca, yucca. Before we get too deep into restoring that cabinet, we better find out if this set's even worth repairing at this point. It does have new filter caps in it. Let's find out if they're any good, and take it from there. Let me get set up. Let's take a look at the filter caps here. These look fairly recent. I mean, within the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years probably. So they're probably okay. They're rated 160 volts. Let's see, negative, positive here. And I'm at 125 on the power supply. Let's see what we've got. Normal looking charge. Oh, and a nice discharge, in fact. Yeah, they're holding volt. That one's holding voltage very well. Let's try this one up here. And it charged up. And a nice discharge. So those two filter caps look absolutely fine and serviceable. There's only one capacitor in here that hasn't been changed. Well, there's some micas that haven't been changed, but I'm only seeing one capacitor that paper capacitor that hasn't been changed out. I'm not sure where it is in the circuit. I should take a look at that before I power it up. And this is not what I thought it was. This circuit has got me baffled just a bit. And I blew it up so that I could try to puzzle this thing out. That loop of wire that's rotted away, that's on the antenna, and it's just crumbling into nothingness, this red lead is B+. This is the B+ circuit. It comes up, goes through the antenna, through that loop, and from there goes up through to the anode here, and it directly feeds the anode of the mixer, or the oscillator rather. This is the oscillator, this is our mixer. We're mixing as we go through here. This looks fairly conventional, but look at the oscillator here. It's an open coil. This is just a very bizarre circuit. and it's got me kind of wondering what they're doing. We've got our typical AVC circuit. They've split the two anodes on the tube, and when they do that, typically that means there's going to be a delayed AVC circuit. And I meant to talk about that in one of the previous restorations and totally forgot to put it in the video. Delayed AVC is when they have a bias taken from either the power supply or by lifting the B- above ground. They put a bias on the grids of the first couple of tubes to prevent AVC from lowering their gain. It locks them at a certain preset level so that weak stations don't get attenuated. And then the second part of the tube is it detects a strong signal. It goes through a resistor until it eventually overpowers that fixed bias and then starts turning the gain down on the front end on extremely strong signals. It's called delayed AVC because it delays the action of the AVC. And I thought for a moment that's what we have here. But I cannot find any place where there's a bias voltage being picked up. And I tracked back through the volume control. The other side goes directly to ground. It comes out of here, goes to the volume control. So there's no bias being picked up there because this end is grounded. We come through a 3 meg resistor, which is a fairly common resistor for an AVC circuit, somewhere between 2 and 3 meg ohms. It goes through the loop antenna, which is normal, and then to the grid, but they normally go to grid 1. This is going to the grid and the mixer. And the other one just seems to feed the normal grid. This is like a normal AVC, and it's tied to the first grid. It's tied to the oscillator grid. So I'm not sure what they're doing here. I'm not sure, you know, it's obviously an AVC circuit, but I've never seen one wired like that before. And I have certainly never seen a loop antenna with the B+ passing through it. And what they're doing with this converter by passing, I don't know if this is some kind of negative feedback or if that's picking up signal for the oscillator. I'm confused. I'm confused. It almost looks like they're using this as part of the oscillator circuit, and they're just through these two, they're not, these are open-ended coils. More capacitive coupling than anything here, because this is our oscillator tuning, this is our antenna tuning, this is our normal conventional antenna tuning. I've never seen an oscillator wired quite like this before. It's a little confusing. I'm not sure I understand what's going on, so I'm not going to try to BS you and tell you exactly how this works. But if someone out there has seen this before and knows where I can look up and read about this, I'd be interested if you've got some publication that I can find this in. But anyway, I'm going to move on. We're going to see if this thing works. Obviously, the filter caps are good. I'm going to plug the speaker in. Oh, I think I had one broken wire that I have to fix. I do. I have a broken wire going to the antenna I spotted. This guy here should be soldered over here on the antenna. So I'm going to put him back where he belongs. We'll plug the field coil in. In fact, I'll do that while I've got it in my hand right here. Come on, that's the single pin. Why are you playing with me? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Alright. I'm going to solder that wire. We'll plug this in and we'll see what we've got. And I've changed my mind. I'm not going to power this up yet. I am going to replace this wire because it's carrying B+ and it passes through the chassis twice here and there's no insulation on it. And that kind of concerns me. I'm wondering if the reason this thing was abandoned is they blew up the IF transformer because that grounded out. So I'm going to have to make some checks here. See, the B plus comes in. That's a 500 ohm resistor. It goes through that wire. Yeah, even if that grounded out, it shouldn't hurt the IF transformer. And we should be alright. This is an open circuit. No, we should be okay. I don't think it would have hurt the transformer. But I do want to change that out. I don't want to have a short circuit here that takes out the rectifier tube. So that's going to be my first thing that I change out, because this is simply too rotten. It just, there's no insulation on it anymore here. And it's outside, inside, outside for 2, inside for 2, outside for 2, inside for 2, out, in. And then down here it goes behind one of the antenna wires where it's outside of them all the way around until here. And then it's inside one of the windings here. I don't know if that's intentional, if that affects how the oscillator runs, I don't know. But I'm going to try to recreate that exact configuration when I put this wire in here. I changed out that one last capacitor that wasn't done yet, or wasn't changed out yet. Oh, there's an X next to that. I wonder if that tube's bad. 35Z5 has an X next to it on the chassis. Well, we'll find out real quick here. Oh no, they all have X's next to them. 1, 2, 3 of them do anyway. I don't know what that means. Does that mean he tested them or they're bad? I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Where was I? Oh, I changed that one capacitor. It was from the B plus of the first audio to ground in the tone control circuit. When it was switched in, it went from B plus to ground. So I changed it out just in case. It turns out it measures about 3 megohms. It would have been fine, but since everything else was changed, why take a chance? Alright, Variax turned down. We're on dim bulb. And I'm going to put some voltage here, about 30 volts, wake up my meter. Not quite enough. There we go. Now let's see what happens. Turn this on. No current draw. No current draw. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is a combination. Oh no, maybe that's not the on. Try this one. Still nothing. Okay, done. This is radio, phono, and tone control combined. And I guess this one's on in volume, but still no current draw whatsoever. So I'm guessing we probably have an open tube in the string. That would be my best guess. So that'll be the next thing. I'll go through and give the tubes a quick check and see what we're up against. That was anticlimactic. And there we have it. Open heater. 12SQ7. Most of these tubes, 2 and 7 are your heaters on these series string sets anyway. And absolutely nothing there. So let me go dig up a 12SQ7 and stick it in there, and we'll try this again. Brand new in the box. New old stock 12SQ7. Let's see what we got. 7 and 1, 2. Oh, am I wrong about that? Let's see. 12SQ7. 12SQ7. 12.7. Get over here to the right numbers. 12SC, 12SA, JK, I'm at 12SQ7. Ah, 7 and 8. No, it's not 2 and 7 on that one. It's 7 and 8. Fooled me. Fooled me, fooled me, fooled me. And that heater's intact on the old one. So I can put my freshie away. Something else isn't working. Maybe the switch is dead. Huh. There's a lesson for you. Every tube in there is 2 and 7 except the 12SQ7. Let me put this back in its box and put it back in the drawer before it gets damaged. That's why we have tube manuals. Check things out. Let's check the switch. Let's pull the power. Maybe we got a dead switch. Are we still in frame here? Yes, we are. Can we get the meter in frame? Yes, we can. Oh boy. Alright. One side the switch goes to ground, the other one goes here. Oh, that appears to work. Yes, indeed. The switch is fine. Do we have a bad line cord? I wouldn't think so. But, that side of it, let's turn it off here. That side of it's alright. And let's check the other side. It was over here. Nothing wrong there. So why are we not drawing current? Or did we just have dirty tube pin terminal sockets? Let's just shake everything around here and scrub the terminals a little bit. And try again, see what happens. Okay, power on. Plug into our dim bulb thingy. And turn the voltage up. I'm going to be right in the way if I do that. Let's try to get everything in frame here. I don't know if we can. I think that's close enough. No, absolutely not drawing any current whatsoever. How unusual. Usually when this happens, it's either an open heater or the switch is bad, but doesn't appear to be the case here. Okay, I'm going to have to dig underneath this and see what I can find. Yeah, it's not that, but it's not the power switch. Alright, I'll be back. That's interesting. I went through and checked all the heaters again and they're all good, and I put an ohm meter across. Oh! No, the lead just fell off. I put an ohm meter on the plug and it's showing. Can you see the meter up there working? Yeah. And there's continuity. Why is it not drawing power? Unless these are just so oxidized. Yeah, they might be too oxidized to make connection. Let me, oh, I got a wire brush right here. I should have a stainless one as well. Maybe the brass one will work. Let's try cleaning up the contacts on the plug. You know what? I'm going to get the Dremel. I'm going to polish those up. And I'll be back. Now we polished up the prongs of the plug. Let's see what happens. Variac off. Alright. On dim bulb. That's off. Turn the Variac on. We got 40 volts there. Let's see what happens. Ah, we're drawing current. That's what it was. The plug was dirty. Alrighty. 130 milliamps, 120, 110. Heaters are warming up. Everything looking okay so far. There's 50 volts, 130 milliamperes, 120. Looking okay so far. We even have a dial lamp. That's funny. Not too often you have a plug that doesn't work. Let's turn up some more. 77, 80 volts. We should start hearing some activity here shortly. Oh, there we go, a little humming. It's humming because it doesn't know the words. Arr, 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 arr. Hey, look at that.
10, which will have larger display sleep apnea detection. Discount home furnishings chain Lots has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy reorganization. As of May, it operated around 1,300 stores.
Speaker doesn't sound as bad as I thought it would.
Business to an affiliate of private equity firm Nexus Capital Management. 7-Eleven's parent company 7&I says it's open to discussions with Circle K's owner if it's willing to offer more for the company.
Bring the voltage up.
7&I considered the initial $39 billion offer too low. And that's your Fox Business Report. I'm Laura Cantor, invested in you.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider.
Wow, I'm amazed. That speaker sounds all right.
800-444-2013. 800-444.
Maybe it's working the rust out of the coil.
BigLou.com.
Let's hit this thing full beans.
2013. Looking for great primary care for the whole family? DMC Primary Care always accepts new patients, from newborns to seniors, plus same-day visits, secure texting, online scheduling, and so much more.
Yeah.
Visit dmcprimarycare.com. Here's what you missed.
Volume control needs a little work, I think.
I appreciate his public service, which has been very, very intensive. I respect Colin, but I don't respect his campaign. His campaign, Chris, has been one of the nastiest
Yeah.
New Hampshire election.
Cafe Espresso, Portsmouth, one of the Seacoast's hotspots.
Amazing.
Breakfast and a big dessert. You'll make plans to come back again. Visit Cafe Espresso in Portsmouth today.
Squirt a little deox at F5 for the fader.
Personal info is out of your control, like your insurance provider that has your social security number and your favorite retailer that has your
Do I have?
email.
Yes,
If
I
they
do
get
have a way
breached,
in.
your information's vulnerable. That's why LifeLock monitors
That's if you're right.
it guaranteed or your money back. To 40% your first year with promo code PLAY at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hey everyone, Consumer Cellular, the guy
It's still dropping out.
and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage like the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of consumer cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon.
Not much more to do than clean it up and do an alignment on it. Well, that wasn't very exciting.
Lot to talk about.
Do what needs to be done.
News Radio 610 and I...
Let's give it some external antenna.
Yeah, stomach pain or loose oily stools.
That's even pure deal. TV.
Wow,
YouTube and Bloomberg Originals to count.
that really woke it up.
Sponsored by AbbVie. So, this guy, how much I made a year, and I told him it's as high as Hulu.
some money and you make a lot of decisions on the way, but overall, it's a clear course to reach your goal. Now, if your goal is to lose 40 or 50 pounds, where's the clear path? You read reviews, you talk with a few friends, and maybe you try something out, and when it doesn't work, let's face it, you're disappointed. We've all been there, and it really sucks. And you know what I say? Stop trying and start doing. Do what I did.
Where's the interference coming
with
from?
Awaken 180. It's a clear course to success.
You hear that? I wonder if that's the that could be the camera. Yeah, it's a damn camera power supply.
Full with brand new windows. Hey, it's Jeff Brown from my friends at Window Nation, and right now is your chance to stay warm and toasty this fall and winter with 2 free windows for every 2 you buy. Plus, there's nothing to pay for 2 years as well. Call 866-90-NATION now or visit windownation.com.
It just can't handle a lot of volume.
And get your winter snowball rolling with Window Nation.
Life is full of amazing things, but sometimes it can feel overwhelming. Whatever you're going through, the 988 Lifeline is here. Call or text 988 to get mental health support around the clock 24/7. This is a message from the Massachusetts Department of Public Health.
Sorry guys, not very exciting.
XKSFM HD2, an iHeart radio station. This is WBZ, Boston's news radio, redefining local news.
Venture lets you redeem.
Needs an alignment. That's around 1250 that we're receiving there, I think. Yep. That should be way down here on the dial.
Experience for me.
Just out of curiosity, let's set this unmodulated on 600 kilohertz here. What band do I want? Here, 600 C, band C. There's 601. There's 600 kilohertz.
He's east of
I don't have any leads on it. I don't have any leads on it. Silly me. You know, I'm always so prepared. It just amazes me how I'm always ready.
What do you mean I'm not an expert?
No, that's the wrong end on that cable. Where on earth did my signal generator cable go? Alright, give me a minute. Okay, it's signal generator set on 600 and we're picking it up at 650 almost. And the second harmonic should be 10, 11, 12, should be 12. Well, let's see, is that 11? No, that's 11, 12. Second harmonic should be here. And it's way up here. So, I'm just going to go quick and dirty and see if I can bring it down there. See if 600's close. Yeah, it's a lot closer.
$369 billion bills.
It's Tweak the antenna. No difference. Not affecting it at all. But 1200 is pretty much on. Well, the antenna control has almost no effect at all.
The show is 800. The program 57.
Should be 1200.
Go even. Virginia.
That's 610.
New Hampshire.
That's 600.
Interesting is the polling has
So
shifted.
610's a little low now.
Nate Silver was the first major Democratic-leaning pollster to report about 10 days ago that Kamala Harris
Close enough.
confirmed.
I'll go through and do an IF check, but it doesn't sound like it's that far off. Okay, you've seen me do that 100 times. What I'm going to do is tweak the IF, do a little cleaning on the chassis here, and then we'll start gluing the cabinet back together. Sorry, nothing very exciting here. We have touched up the IF, and it woke the radio up quite a bit when I went through the IF. I just did a quick alignment. You've seen me do that 100 times. This is a day later that I'm videoing this piece. It's been sitting here for 12-14 hours playing while I've been doing other things around the basement. I've just been listening to an oldies station, and it's been working well. Now, I did notice on bass notes that the speaker sounded very fluttery. It had a sound to it. And on closer examination, I found a bunch of little cracks, radial cracks, around the cone. And the paper itself was very limp, floppy feeling. So I put some liquid electrical tape there, let that dry, and then I gave it a couple of good coats of flat black Rust-Oleum just to give the paper a little body. And boy, it vastly improved the sound quality.
At Enterprise Wealth Management,
I don't know how well it's going to come across on the camera audio.
The reality is most Americans don't support late-term abortions, and they do support restrictions in months 7, 8, and 9, the last trimester. Well, neither Kamala Harris nor Tim.
Every once in a while, I get a little zzz out of there, like something has fallen down into the voice coil, but it's gotten to the point now when I press it manually, there's no scratching anymore, but I imagine there's still some stuff floating around in there. It'll be fine. Now neither one of these oldies stations are very strong, even with the outdoor antenna on.
Cash bail. People that have been. We knew.
Question marks over. Be more inclined
To
There's no effort. There's no evidence that Solomon had a dramatic change of heart.
We're going to take a look at this upper end of 128.9.
So, it's not a bad little performer. It's surprisingly decent little radio, actually. But I'm not going to go to heroics and clean up this chassis. I did go over it with a paper towel soaked in Windex and cleaned off most of the mouse pee and droppings, and took a toothbrush to the tuning cap, cleaned that up a little bit. This is not a set of any historical value. I just didn't want to see it end up in the landfill in pieces. So we're going to, now that it's electrically fine, I'm not going to go through and clean up all that guy's wiring. It works. It's not going to be a problem. I've made sure everything in here is safe. The speaker's been preserved. I'll glue the cabinet all back together, sand down the rough parts, and put some stain on it. But I'm not going to go to heroics. I could spend $200, reflocking everything and getting a cartridge in the phonograph, and I won't get $50 for this thing if I was to sell it. It's not a piece that's going to be in demand. If I sell it for $50 as is, somebody will take it home and give it a good home, but I'm not going to sink hours and hours and hours and hours into trying to make a perfect restoration for this thing. It's just not worth it. But it has been saved from the landfill. If it sits in somebody's basement as a shop radio for the next 20 years, that'd be great. That'll make me feel good. So we're going to wrap this one up. This one's gone on long enough. I'll take you along for some of the gluing and restoration when I get to that. And again, it's just going to be, it'll be a good piece to practice my woodworking skills on. Let's put it that way. To see, how much I can save, how much of the original cabinet I can save, and learn some tricks along the way, so to speak. That's it for now. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sticking with it, and we'll catch up with you soon. Stay well. Bye-bye.